So I'm Annie. I'm the Vice President of Marketing and Creative here at Minnesota ROKKR, and I would love to invite Ashley and Gary up to the stage. All right, so Gary, as you all probably know, is a serial entrepreneur, chairman of VaynerX, CEO of VaynerMedia, and co-owner of Minnesota ROKKR. And Ashley is our director of content. So please join me in welcoming them to the stage. So Gary, tell us how you got interested in eSports.
From my perspective, there's two ways to look at this from my interest graph. One, since the time I was in third grade, I've been proclaiming to anybody who's listening that I will own the New York Jets. So owning a sports team has been very much ingrained into my DNA. And so that was one thing. And then two, my entire career, whether in the wine world or investing or marketing, has been understanding consumer behavior at an early stage. And so I've been quietly paying attention to the scene for, I spoke to Justin the day Justin TV became Twitch. So, I've been watching for a long time. There's so many things I'm looking at right now, whether it's AR, voice, crypto, blockchain, that I don't speak about publicly because most of the stuff I try to speak about publicly has already been firm. I'm not trying to guess. I'm not trying to be a futurist. And I've been able to prove it. So I've watched esports for a very, very, very long time. Steve Ross, the owner of the Dolphins, is a partner of mine in Vayner. He was approached with the Overwatch team offer 5 years ago or what have you. Many of my business associates were part of that conversation with Activision. Obviously, because of social media, it's been very easy for me to follow some of the personalities, the executions of kind of more of the Team Liquids or the FaZe or things of that nature. So I've been, to really nail it, what's 2019? Probably since 12, 11, 13, it's been on my radar. It's more of a side dish. I'm flirting over here, I'm watching. And then when the opportunity came to me through the WILF organization to take a look at this, a really fun story that I'm sure very few people know is that the WILFs are really based in New Jersey, and specifically in Springfield, New Jersey, where Wine Library is based. So I've known the family for a very long time. And so there's obviously a lot of warm vibes there. And so a lot of my business looks like this. It's macro thesis of things I believe in, but then it's completely human. In a world where you have so many opportunities, and when you have the luxury of being successful, even more opportunities, a lot of times they have to hit on a lot of fronts for it to become real. And so, because I promised myself to never be the minority owner of the Jets, I figured this would be a safe place to be a minority owner.
Thank you. And so, Ashley, you got interested in esports at a very young age for yourself and for the industry, actually. So how did that happen?
Yeah, so it all just started. I've loved video games since I was like 5. I've just always gravitated. Anytime we went somewhere that had like an arcade or something, I wanted to play. Dad, can I have some quarters? I want to play. Just always was drawn to it and had consoles all growing up. When Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, or the original, like the COD 4 came out, I became just engrossed with it. I was like, this is like, I'd never played a first-person shooter before, didn't really care for them, but just something about Call of Duty just really clicked with me. So that game and the Grand Theft Auto franchise are my favorites. So I basically started playing a lot of Call of Duty. I'd started like going on message boards. This was before like YouTube really. There was message boards talking about gaming. Then YouTube came around. People started posting early footage of the gameplay that I was just so ecstatic about. So I just took an interest in content creation on YouTube. Then I realized, well, people are like competing. Like this is actually a thing that they're playing for money. It's like a real like structured thing. And I was like, what the heck is this? And I just so happened to get involved with an esports team, Optic Gaming, which I was a part of for a really long time. They got into competitive Call of Duty, and I've just sparked love with Call of Duty ever since I started playing it, and ever since I realized people could compete. I was never a competitor, but I just loved following it and creating content around it.
I also was dominant at Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Love that game. Well, that was my next question, Gary. Do you play video games yourself?
I do not. At this point, I'm like just milking every second, and video games is not a current escapism for me, which my non-family, non-work time goes into. And so I don't, however, I did build a streaming gaming studio right outside my office, and I was solid at Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. What I'm actually dominant at, and I actually believe this in my heart, I think I might be the single best player of Nintendo ice hockey, right? You know, like the fat and skinny and medium guy, Russia, you know, and so this might be an important moment for me because I want to be the first kind of like owner player. And so if there's a way to create a vintage league that we get to play Nintendo ice hockey, I think I might be the great.
That's good to know. We have been talking about that, actually. Brett, we've been talking about crushing the players at like old school Nintendo games at the facility.
Are you good at it?
I was back in the day. I might need to polish up.
I will beat your face. And I want to have a financial bet, and I want money that matters. Like, meaning, like, you'll be like upset and worried if you lose.
I feel like we could humble some of our players too, bring them into our world.
Well,
right?
it's true. I mean, I think, you know, but, you know, it's funny. I was hardcore video games as well. I'm 44. We were part of that era. Like, I'm part of the age group that saw, to me, there was two crazy transitions in video game console life. The jump from Atari 7800 that almost nobody had. Atari to Nintendo was like going to the moon. Like, for the people in this room that remember that jump in 85, 86, that was like, you're like, wait a minute, the arcade is in my house now, because the jump was so huge. And then I'll never forget my freshman year of college. We went to the mall. We went into KB toy stores, me and my crew. I was always a hustler, so I had a couple extra bucks. So they goaded me into going to the mall to buy a new Genesis game for all of us. And we walked in, this is pre-internet, so you never knew what the hell was going on in the world. And we walk into KB toy stores and we're like, what is that? And it was PlayStation. And it was CDs instead of cartridges, and it was like Battle Arena Toshinden. It was like, so like those two moments are like ingrained in my soul, and even probably in the way that you hear me telling those stories, those two massive jumps. So it was fun, you know, sneaker culture, video game culture. It's kind of fun right now, you know, for the people in this room, in this world that kind of get to play in that 38 to 55-year-old lane of age, where you got to see these two things really from the beginning. Truly the beginning, to now in a place where it has completely become culture at scale, the kind of things that the biggest brands in the world need to worry about, that people at scale are paying attention to. I mean, I sit here today with zero doubt to the following statement, which is, in the next 2 decades, call it 15 to 20 years from today, eSports is easily competing with basketball and soccer as the top sports in America, if you look at just basic data. And that's with football as the king of our sports world right now. So I think this is going to be much, you know, that father-son video resonates with a lot of us that are older, that understand what's happening in that two desperate kind of different generations. But this is not a debate. This is not guessing. This is not maybe. This is a foregone conclusion. This has been written. This is what, you know, an enormous amount of people are going to be consuming in entertainment for the far majority of the rest of the people in this room's lives. And right now, it is wildly small in comparison. And for the majority of this room, this should be very natural, because UFC just 20 years ago is a fringe, under the radar thing. And so why am I interested? Why am I here? Like, because this is going to be a big deal. Because my equity ownership as a minority owner of this team might be the thing I can sell to buy the entire Jets franchise in 35 years. I genuinely believe that. And so that's why I'm here, because I'm an entrepreneur.
Great. Well, so Gary, you're very well known for your theories about content and content marketing. How do you think your influence can help the world of esports?
You know, the same way it can help anything. Like, to me, the excitement I get when a esports franchise or a player levels up their content output that creates opportunities for her or him in whatever form they want is no different than the way I think it's at somebody sitting at home right now starting a direct-to-consumer homemade pie business. The thesis is very simple. For everybody in this room, and I met a bunch of you already, a lot of different angles, entrepreneurs, executives at Fortune 500 companies, let there be no confusion that the volume of content that you put out and the relevance, when you do volume, you now have the ability to create relevance, not potential reach. And when you create relevance to Asian American women in their 40s, 13-year-old Latino males that grew up in a first-generation immigrant family in El Paso, 55-year-old Upper East Side guy. Like, when you actually go to volume, you can create relevance, and that is fundamentally, in my opinion, the oxygen of a modern contemporary communication framework. So for esports or anything else in the world happening in this room or on the live streams or the videos right now, it is the cost of entry in our society. If you are incapable to understand how to produce pictures, videos, and written words, audio clips on the 15 platforms that consume all of our attention, you will lose.
All right. So Ashley, let's talk about your experience in the content world.
P.S. real quick.
Oh.
Somebody else that's gonna lose is the Chicago franchise in Call of Duty. I just want to, Hector and crew, I just want to make this very simple to you. We will be the dominant team in the region, and as much as people think the Bears and Vikings rivalry is important, I'm committed to making this the dirtiest and meanest rivalry in sports.
Let's go.
Fuck you, Chicago.
Let's get ready to rock. So Ashley, what kind of content have esports teams traditionally made?
I mean, listen, so where I'm from, obviously Hector's team, Optic Gaming, that's kind of another like rift and angle into that. So at that team, there was focus on connecting the community to the players. And one thing that I think is special about Call of Duty, and I hope that other esports communities take to this as well, is that so many people have the ability to be connected to our players, whether it's they follow them on Twitter, they get a favorite or a reply, or they're watching them on stream, they're chatting. It's like an instant interaction that you're having with somebody who's in the elite 1% of the 1% at the game, and that interaction's there. So I think, building content around those people, allowing the veil to be lifted so that people can really get to know that these folks on our team, and obviously take away like from their stream or these videos, like, yeah, there's a high skill level there, they can learn from that, but also like, what do they do in their spare time? How do we relate to them? And I think content, is that bridge, the bridge to that gap. And so I view it as just super important to do all different types of content, whether it's let's show them going to the mall and coach shop, let's show them practicing, let's show them, just hanging out together. That's the whole vibe of the team and I think that's where our content's really gonna make people feel like they're a part of it, like they're right here at home with us.
Yeah. So Gary, you've been known to be able to predict things about certain industries, and you've been right about things very early on. You're sort of known for that. When you talk about we're going to get to the place where esports is one of the biggest sports out there, what do you think the biggest challenge is going to be on our way there?
Nothing. Here's why. I've never predicted a single thing in my career. I'm known for it because people are not paying attention to the subtleness in what I'm doing. I only speak about today, not tomorrow, not yesterday. The world is infatuated with yesterday. I'm infatuated with today. Meaning, it's already the biggest sport. The data is very clear. All I care about is the consumer. I'm not worried about the fact that the sponsorship deals aren't there yet. I'm not worried that the leagues aren't completely formed yet. I'm worried about show me where the 8 to 17-year-olds' minutes of eyeballs are on Earth, and I'll show you already the third or second or fourth biggest sport in this country. So much like what I'm doing right now with TikTok, everyone's like, you're predicting them like it has 1.5 billion users. Not predicting anything. Much like, I don't predict. I'm extremely comfortable having conviction around consumer behavior while the B2B world doesn't accept it. I'm very good at yes because they said so, not because my opinion is no. People have opinions of social media or gaming. That's your opinion, your subjective, singular opinion of how the world should be. I roll with actual humility, which is I have no opinions. I just observe what is actually true. newsflash, what is actually true is Mike Trout is one of the all-time greatest baseball players ever. He is currently the single best baseball player, and if he walked in here naked, nobody would know who he is. Because baseball's relevance and marketing schema to a 2020 world has been so insular and own everything, show nothing in where we actually live, that we've eliminated any of the brand equity of those players. Esports is inherently always out there in the channels where they are. And so, look, this is played out already. This is, there's a reason. Go look at football players' followings versus esports players' followings. Back to the point of you in the, people are wildly confused. What's gonna stop us? What are the challenges? Nothing. It actually already happened. The thing that would stop money coming into it is the subjective opinion of media buyers and brand CMOs who are wildly never in tune to the actual consumer, but are in a B2B environment around ad age and CAN and media metrics and potential reach and GRPs and everything that has nothing to do with the consumer. So that's the answer.
I like that answer.
I believe it to be true,
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't know how people aren't seeing the hours spent on Twitch and YouTube. This has been written. There's no prediction. This is not coming. This is here. It's been here.
Well, I think with that, let's talk more about it. Please join me in giving thanks to Gary and Ashley.